Yo, what's going on guys? Tanmay here for Simple Snippets and welcome back to the 10th video tutorial in the Dynamic Web Application Development course where we're using ASP.NET with C# programming, MS SQL as the database and Bootstrap for front-end styling and a bunch of other libraries for enhancing the user interface and the functionality. And in this video tutorial, we're going to be designing the member management page. Okay, so in the previous video tutorial, that is in the 9th video of this entire course of this playlist, we designed the book issuing page. Okay, so this is the admin book issuing page and this is how it looks like. So this page is where we are gonna issue books to different members. So the member will come in the library, he or she will give the member ID, he or she will give the book ID, and once you click on go, the member name and the book name will show up over here. You'll set the start date, you'll set the end date, and you'll issue the book. Even the member might come to return the book also. So we have issue and return. So this text has to be returned. We did not update it in the previous tutorial. I'll just do it quickly over here. Okay, so I've changed the text. Anyways, in this video, we are going to be designing a new page which is member management. So how does this member management page look like? So coming to our demo web page. So this is how the member management would look like. You have fairly lot of details, but these are all the same details that we did or that we took while a member registers himself or herself. So when we do the member sign up, we've already designed that member sign up page. All these details we were taking from the member, and now from the admin side, he or she will also get to see all these details, but they would be read only, because an admin can either update the account status of the member or delete the member completely. But an admin cannot change the contact number, admin cannot change the personal details of any member, right? So that would be kind of like an illegal thing that admin is doing, changing the user details, personal details of members. So that's why all these things are read only. And you can see we have member ID, full name, and everything else is in read only mode. And on the right hand side, we are seeing the entire list. Okay. So as I mentioned, admin can either update the account status, keep it pending, keep it active, or make it deactive. So maybe, a member is not returning the books, so you can just deactivate his account. Or maybe you want to just change the account status to pending so that he or she does not issue new books. Or maybe the member is newly created, so the account status will be pending and you just want to activate it. So you can click on active. So these are 3 buttons that do that. And you can see that there are small icons onto it. So these are those font awesome library icons that we are using. And these are not actually images. These are vector graphics basically. And they directly come from that library. We'll talk about that as we go ahead and do the designing. And here we have the delete member button. So maybe the member has cancelled the membership for this library and you just literally want to delete it from the database, so you can delete it. Okay. So for example, you can see we have Abhishek over here. His ID is A123. If I type in A123 and hit go, I'm gonna get all these details in read only mode. I cannot edit them. You can see I'm trying to change them, but I cannot change them. But what I can change is I can change the account status. Now I think that Abhishek here is a legitimate user. He's just registered. All his details look fine. Obviously these are fake details. Don't try to call or email on these details. So I'm like, okay, let's make this active so that he and she can start issuing books, start taking books from the library. So if I click on this button, you can see account status updated successfully, and there you go. Now the account status is coming as active. So this user interface is something that we have to design on our web page. And obviously the functionality is not going to be done in this tutorial. We are just designing the front end. So let's quickly get started. To see on the left hand side, we have a lot of details to add. So let's quickly add them. What we'll do, we'll use this same interface and make changes to it later on. So coming to our code, e-library management. In the previous tutorial, we did this admin book issuing, right? So we'll just copy paste this entire code, entire container. Let's first create the form. We have to create one more web page. Right click, add new item, web form with master page, and this is going to be named as admin member management. Okay, admin member management, user management, anything you can name it, but just remember it. I'm naming it admin member management. Hit enter, select the site1.master page, and our form is created. In the content tag, we have to place all the content. Let's copy this entire code from the book issuing.aspx, paste it over here, save it, and coming to our, let's refresh it first. Coming to our code, let's say admin member management. Okay, I'm typing in the links manually because right now our links are not working. These links are all in the master page. So we've not added any of the, redirects to actual web pages. We'll do that later on. Hit enter and there you go. This is how the UI looks like, exactly similar to the book issuing page, because we have to make the changes. Now we have to make changes to this UI to make it look something like this. Let's start off with the left hand side, member details. Let's copy this, coming over here, change it to member details. Okay, this image has to be a different image, which has to be, I guess, a user image. Let's see which user. Yeah, the general user.png. I'm gonna change it to general user.png. Now I have shared all these images and all the resources. In fact, I will be sharing the code of this individual page also as an article on our official website. You can check that out in the video description if you don't want to type it, because obviously typing all this is going to be a little hectic, and by now if you've gotten the hang of it, you can directly copy paste it. Okay, just save this. What do we have next over here? If you see, now over here we have 3 text boxes. Let's first refresh this and see if the changes have occurred. Okay, the changes have occurred. Now we have member ID, full name, account status, and then we have text boxes. So let's add them. So I'm gonna minimize this row, I'm gonna minimize this row, I'm gonna minimize the horizontal rule row, and now we are at member ID. Okay, so let's see, member ID is correct over here, but we want the go button over here. So I'm gonna copy this, or cut this, paste it over here, and I'm gonna name this as member ID. Okay, again the placeholder also has to change, and now you can see we have to give it a proper split. This split looks like a 3, 4 and 5 split, which will total down to 12, right? So this would be a complete container over here. Inside that we have a row, inside that we have 3 columns, and 3 columns are having different sizes. So it is a 3, 4 and 5 split. Let's try that. So this has to have a 3 split. I'm gonna need another one which says full name, so this is gonna be full name. Change the placeholder also. This has to be 4 spaces, and what we'll do a copy and a general paste over here, and this has to be account status, right? So let's rename that account status, and again placeholder also status. The split has to be 3, 4 and 5, right? So that would be total down to 12. Now we also have some buttons along with it, so we need to actually use this division, because this division has a division called class input group. Okay, and this is a class form group. So we need an extra division when we want multiple inputs side by side. Okay, so you can see inside this division of class form group, what do we have? We have a class called input group. Now input group basically means a group of inputs, and we have 2 different inputs over here, the text box as well as button, right? And they have to come side by side. So that's why we have to encapsulate them. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this inner code, come inside here, I'm just going to paste it over here, and now we'll just simply change this to account status. Okay, of course this has to be a read only thing. So for the buttons, what do we have? We have a green button, so I'm going to change it to success, and right now I'll just replace it with a text box, or a text actually. The text would be S. Similarly, I'm just going to copy this button, paste it over here and paste it over here. We'll talk about how to use the font awesome in a minute. Change this to P for pending and this D for deactivate. Change the color to warning for yellow, which is for pending, and this is danger for red. Okay, now the text box has to be read only. Let's change the properties of this text box. Okay, it's read only. Let's save this and let's see how our page looks like right now. Okay, so as you can see, we've added pretty much everything over here. Member ID with the go button, the full name as well as the account status, which is read only, and S, P and D icons, and they're very pretty much stuck to each other. If you see over here, we have a little bit of space. So now we have to add these icons, right? So how do we add these icons? Now remember, if you have watched the very initial videos where we set up all the libraries, if you go into our site.master and scroll up, here you can see we have a link to Font Awesome CSS, and we have created this folder over here, Font Awesome. We have the CSS, we've downloaded all the sources onto our system. So what is this Font Awesome? So let's go on their official website. So if you just go on their official website, Font Awesome is nothing but an online icon pack library. Okay, so these are basically web fonts or web icons basically, and they are not really PNGs or they are not JPG icons. They are vector graphic icons, which means that they are actually drawn using CSS. Okay, so you can read about them in detail, but right now we are just directly gonna use them. And the way you use them is if you just go into their docs now, you can see how you can use them. Okay, so if you go in their docs, they will redirect us to the basic use, how do we use them simply. And you can see we have to use this I tag, that is italic tag. We've used this in HTML, right? When we want to make the text italic, we use this I tag, right? But here they are making it a different use case by giving it a class. Okay, so when you give this class FAS and FA-camera, these are CSS classes which are there in the Font Awesome CSS, which we have included into our code. So these classes actually draw those icons. Okay, so we have different icons for different looks. You can see over here we have FAS, FA-camera. It would give you a camera looking like this. Then we have FAR, FA-camera, which would give an outlined camera. Now some of them are for free use, like solids. These are free to use. These are paid versions, which is pro version required, but most of them are free to use, and the free things gets the job done. So if you want, you can search the icons over here, whichever are free. Go to this link, fontawesome.com/icons. So if you come to our website, we want a tick mark, we want a pause button, and we want a cross button. Okay, I have already found out all these icons from over here, and let's say you want a tick mark icon, right? So what would be tick mark? It would be right or correct answer, right? Something like that. You have to search the icon properly. Yeah, so if I type in correct, I'm getting this check -circle. This is that icon for tick mark, right? So if I click on this, I will see what class they're using. So you can see this italic tag, I class FA check circle. If you just click on it, it gets copied actually. Now coming to our code, coming to the management page, member management, this is where we created the different buttons, right? We have button for success, which is active. This would be A. So what we'll do, we will insert our italic tag over here. Okay, and close this button over here. How do you close the button? By using a hyphen ASP colon button. Okay, now this closes the tag for this first button, right? Now one thing I have observed is that this italic tag only works with link button and not the normal buttons. So instead of this button, what do we need is a link button. Okay, so this is this link button icon, which is a ASP component again. So just type in link button and just make this one small change. I don't know why it's showing a little weird error. Let me just actually drag and drop a new button altogether over here. I'm gonna drag and drop a link button over here. Okay, inside this I'm gonna cut this italic tag and paste it over here, and this I'm gonna give a class of BTN and BTN success. Cut this and give it a class over here itself, and that should pretty much do the job. Let me just erase out everything else, save this and refresh our code. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so there you go. You can see our tick mark is added properly now, and similarly we just have to copy this link button, paste it 3 more times. Okay, and now it has to be warning for pending, and this has to be danger color for red. Okay, lastly we also have to change the italic tag classes, otherwise everything will be tick mark. So for the pause button, we have another italic class which is FA pause circle. Okay, you can search this pause button on the icons website as I showed you. And for cross, we have FA time circle. Okay, and this FAS has to be FAR over here for pause. And these are basically solid or regular ones and some extra abbreviations. You can just search it, save it, and let's refresh. And there you go, our buttons have been added successfully. They're pretty much stuck to each other because I guess everything is little bit compressed over here. Maybe we can reduce the member ID value a little bit. Let's see if we can. So let's make this 2 and let's make this 6. Okay, so 6 plus 4 is 10 plus 2 is 12. Let's save this, and instead of this button go text, what we can do, we can add a link button over here also. I'm just gonna erase this out, copy this ASP link button, paste it over here and make this as primary. Okay, save this, hit refresh. Let's see. Okay, so it's still stuck to each other. I guess I'll have to add a little bit of padding over here. So that didn't work. Let me just change the column to 3 and this to 5 again. Now what you can do is you can add one more class which is given by Bootstrap itself, which is known as spacing classes. So if you go to get Bootstrap and search for spacing utilities and just click on it, you have special spacing utilities for margin and padding. Okay, so they all start from something like this, empty-0, so margin top -0, or margin left -1, or margin right some value, and this value would be ranging from 0 to 5. Okay, I have talked about these spacing utilities in my Bootstrap tutorials, one of the video in that playlist. You can just check that out. But right now I'm just gonna copy paste a code or class name which is mr-1. So we will add a margin to the right of 1 space with, or 1 unit basically. It's in percentage, it's calculated in some percentage. We'll add that over here also. We'll add that over here also. Let's save this. Let's refresh. And now you can see these spacings are created properly over here. You can add a little bit of spacing between this button also if you want to add a little bit of margin to the right end. And there would be some spacing over here also. You can see margin right is added to the right side of each of these components, and there is some spacing created. And now it looks pretty much like this. So yeah, this took a little while. Now rest of the things are just addition of these text boxes, and we've already done it. You can see we have 3, 4, 5 split over here also. Then we have 4, 4, 4 split over here. So let's quickly create these different text boxes. All of them are read only. So we'll completely, we'll just use full name from this row and actually copy paste this entire row first. Or what do we have? We have member name and book name, right? So we need to add DOB, contact number and email. So we need to add one more column over here and give it a split of 3, 4 and 5. First thing is DOB. Let's change the text to DOB. This is gonna be read only, right? Yeah, it's read only. It's a text box. What do we have next? We have contact number. We have contact number over here. Again, read only. And lastly, we have email ID. So email ID over here, placeholder as email ID, and it's again read only. Save this, refresh. Let's come to our page. There you go. We've got DOB, contact number and email ID in proper split. And this is how it looks like. Then we have state, city and pin code. So we just need to copy this entire row, paste it over here. Need to change it to 4, 4, 4 split because everything is equal split over here. First label is state. Then we have change the placeholder also to state. Then we have city. Change this to city. We have pin code and placeholder as pin code. Save this, refresh, coming to our page. Alright, so state, city and pin code is added. Lastly, we just need one full postal address text box, which is going to take up the entire space, and it's going to be a multi-line text box. Again, read only. Quickly add that. Let's copy this entire row, or you know what, use this row, existing row itself. Just erase out this division. This will take all the spaces all the time. Call -12. Coming to the dummy or demo page, we need to copy this full postal address over here. This is going to be full postal address over here, and the text mode is going to be multi-line, right? So changing the properties to multi-line, and the number of rows we want is 2 at least to be shown. Save this. Lastly, we have one button which is delete user permanently, so we'll do that also. Erase one of the button in the last row. Make this as 8 and MX auto, so that this column comes in the center. Let's make this danger. Text has to be delete user permanently. Save this. Pretty sure everything must be done right. Let's refresh. Okay, so there you go. Things are pretty much done. This text box and this text box has to be read only. So let's quickly do that. Coming over here, this has to be read only. The first text box also has to be read only. The full name. Where is that row? Yeah, this is that row. This has to be read only. Save this. Refresh. There you go, everything is done. Delete user permanently button is added, coming to the center. It is taking 8 spaces. Using the MX auto class, it's coming to the center and it's not to the left or right. So this pretty much looks something like this, right? And on the right hand side, obviously we have the members list. Copying this, we need to replace this over here. Just gonna minimize this row and minimize the last row of this column, which is taking 5 spaces, which is this entire column. Minimize this entire column. We're done with it. We need to change issued book list to members list. We already have the grid view, so we are going to keep it as it is. Refresh. Alright, this is the members list, and right now obviously the grid view is not visible because we are not loading the dynamic data from the database, but the grid view is there in the code. You can see this is that grid view. It will show up when we actually go ahead and do the coding part. And yeah, this was the members details and member management page, which again only admin has access to, which is this link. Right now this link is not working, but then when you click on it, this is the form that will be loading up. Here admin will see all the member list. Admin can actually only change the account status and delete the user permanently. Okay, so yeah, that's it for this video, guys. This was the members management page, admin member management page. I hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments your feedback about how this course is going on. We're still in the designing phase. In the next video, we'll design the last page, that is the book inventory page. That's the only one left for the designing part, and then we'll jump into the development part. Make sure you've turned on the notifications so that you get notified whenever I upload the next video. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do that. Please share this series with your friends. It will definitely be helpful to develop your projects. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.